Talking to Eric.
Okay, now you're unmuted.
Oh, okay. Then I can say hi, Martha. Martha can hear us. Do I need love? No, I mean. The room lit up kind of green when we talked, but I don't know if
Yes.
okay, so if I talk, I see the little mic icon moving on
Martha,
Zoom.
can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. That was not that did not seem to be the case a moment ago.
Oh, yeah. It turned out my computer volume was turned way down. My husband likes to do that, and then it tricks me and I can't hear anything.
Oops.
Oh, yeah. I see on the microphone it gets greener and greener the louder I talk.
Yes. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So, all right. So yeah, so we didn't hear from.
Didn't hear from Carlo.
Yeah, we didn't hear from Carlo
Margaret's traveling.
and no Margaret. So that's the whole. That's everything.
That's
So
everybody, right?
so give
This is the new Eric.
yes, we've well, I'm about to say we've had an upgrade.
Yes. I'm the liaison from the recreation.
Yes, we will. That is our first item of business. So I'll, it's 7:29 by my clock, so give it a minute. Carlo wants to join. He's often coming from a pickleball thing, I think, on Mondays. He's said as much, so
Yeah.
I won't wait too long in case he's going to be 20 minutes late or something. Can't get it all.
Do you guys need monthly?
Yes. About
And when did you begin? When did you form?
About a year ago, right?
over a year ago.
Yeah.
It was like our first meeting, I think, was June
Okay,
of
yeah.
Oh, okay.
last year.
Well, initially, we got a later start than we were supposed to get a start. Right?
Yeah.
So we missed the window to go to the last town
When
meeting.
you
So
say so, is November town meeting the goal?
So that's
Well, I guess we.
yeah, we right. Yeah.
yeah.
That's work certainly seems like an appropriate thing to recap during the welcome, sure.
I
All
think we
right.
can
It is
start.
7:30, so
We have a quorum.
yes, and we have a quorum. Yes, quorum being present. It never make that sound as official as
Yeah.
Alan does. All right. So let's call this meeting of the Ad Hoc Community Preservation Act Study Committee to order. We are hybrid, so we do a roll call vote. So as I see folks, Martha,
Hello.
Sandy,
Here.
Kate,
Present.
Sarah,
Here.
and Joe here. So first order of business, say I called up Kate rather than Eric because we have a new liaison from the rec committee. So welcome, Kate.
Thank you.
I don't know exactly how much Eric told you. I mean, hopefully something.
So can I take 30 seconds?
Please.
So I've lived in town for more than 40 years. I used to be Sarah's neighbor. I have served on the recreation committee for probably 30, 35 years. Serving in leadership and other capacities. I've been a town meeting member several times. Presently, I am no longer a town meeting member. And so I've just been pretty active in town affairs. Eric served on this board as the liaison from the recreation committee. His travel schedule was difficult, so I am the new Eric.
Yeah.
He did not tell me a lot about the goings on here, but as in previous discussions, I'm familiar with CPA. I remember when we, had it on the agenda or the docket or the warrant 20 some years ago. So I'm looking forward to getting myself up to speed and seeing where I can help you guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And excuse me, can I get a last name for Kate?
Yes, Martha, my last name is Kaminer. It's Kaminer.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Martha was a biology teacher at the high school. I don't know if your
Okay.
kids had her.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So yeah, actually, let's do a quick round of introductions of the rest of us
Oh, good
because
idea.
you hadn't met us. We hadn't met you either. I'll start because since it's my fault we're doing introductions. I'm Joe. I introduced myself over email
Yes,
earlier.
thank you.
I am the I'm the representative from the finance committee. I'm also the chair of the finance committee because apparently I'm bad at saying no to things. Yeah, so from the beginning, this committee was formed by the select board in early February 2024 is when they actually voted, but then there was some select board drama, as we occasionally have around here. And then the new town manager at the time, Matt, convened this committee I think he reached out to us in May and we actually got together in June. But let me go to other folks that can introduce themselves.
Sarah Burglacchio, formerly your neighbor. I'm here because I'm on the Historical Commission and I'm a liaison to the Historical Commission. I'm the vice chair. I'm also a town meeting member. Something I also want, oh, Celebration Trust, but in any event, I'm really enjoying, because I do remember vaguely this trying to pass in the previous years, but I was really busy with little ones, so it wasn't like I was that involved. So anyway, I'm really happy to be doing this.
Sandy.
Sandy, last name Matafia. You might call me the minister without portfolio. I'm not recommending.
We have one at-large member.
Yeah.
They wanted to make an odd number.
I never heard of that. Okay.
Well, I'm not carrying any particular baggage to the meeting, or I'm not wearing any particular hat. Everybody else sort of is coming from a particular subject area committee. So I sort of view my job here as sort of picking up either the interstices or interests within the community that are not represented by the filler groups. Particularly sensitive to taxes as being something that's in play big time and contend with and integrate into our thinking and our recommendations. My background is in environmental law. I've had stints with a couple of different town groups, like creating up the land trust, but by and large, my career had me participating in a lot of local stuff as a paid representative as opposed to volunteer. So having retired a couple of years ago, I'm now catching up with my volunteer stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
So I see we have Carlo here. Welcome, Carlo.
Hi.
We were doing a round of introductions because we have a new member from the rec committee.
Hi, Carlo, Kate Kaminer.
Oh, how you doing?
Well, thank you.
I see that you guys don't have the microphones, so when Sandy was talking, he wasn't talking loud enough. I don't know if Martha had the same problem.
Yep, I was going to mention it too.
Yeah, you guys.
I don't know how we get microphones. I noticed that you guys had them at the select board meeting and CPDC had them, but conservation never has them like on the podium. And so people at the podium are sometimes hard to hear.
We've had them before.
They're locked in the closet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, well, we'll
You're
have to speak
locked
up.
up.
We gotta speak up.
All right, yeah, I mean, I had this, I joined our last meeting from Zoom, so I know exactly what Carlo and Martha are talking about, because I couldn't hear Sandy then either. When I was in California a month ago. I did speak up.
Generating the invite, is your laptop generating the invite?
No, it's Jack.
Oh,
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know, I thought it was probably a microphone in the ceiling picking us up, but I'm actually not 100% sure.
Yeah, it is, but like Joe, you're in the middle, and I'm speaking for Martha. We can hear you fine, but then when it goes on the edges, like where Sandy is, he needs to
Lean forward.
not yell, but
Lift and project.
Right.
Would it, not to make you move, but would it work better if you sat over here? Let's
I think we had Sandy just squish over one chair and sit closer to me last time. And that
wasn't super, well, okay, all right.
that didn't help enough.
Not really. I got tired of hearing my own voice complaining last time, but for the record, hopefully this will help. I'm also intentionally projecting. Which will
So
help.
we didn't make it around all the introductions. I'm Martha Moore, and I am the liaison from the Conservation Commission, and I am also a town meeting member. And I retired from teaching at Reading Memorial High School in 2019 and got recruited for the Conservation Commission, started there in January of 2020, went to one in-person meeting, and then we went to COVID meetings after that for a while. So anyway, so that's how I got on CPA, was to be the liaison from Conservation.
Carlo, want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I mean, Kate knows me from rec, but I am the select board appointee to this committee. And I'm on my last year of my second term, and 2026 is TBD.
All right, cool. So let's continue with the agenda. There are literally no members of the public on Zoom or in the room to comment. So I'm going to presume that none of the no people want to comment. So let's go. We have a slot for liaison reports. Does anyone have something to report from their respective committees?
Is this a place where we could talk about the presentation we made, or is that later in the agenda?
We've got a spot for that in the agenda. So let's do all that there. Likewise, I'll talk about upcoming finance committee stuff there too when we talk about future outreach. So
Okay.
cool.
Joe, I have a question.
Oh, we have somebody new online all of a sudden.
I do see that. Go ahead, Kate.
You can take me. Oh, no, my question was, so this docket item liaison report, so is the expectation, I'm trying to get up to speed. Is the expectation that I should give my committee a presentation on what we do?
We usually just say, like, I'll say a summary, like, we met and we're just further discussing, we're meeting with groups. I kind of give them like a rundown where we're at.
Okay.
Well, so are you asking about talking to rec, or you're talking about talking from rec?
I'm talking to, like, educating the members of the recreation committee about CPA.
So as a committee, we are in the process of trying to do outreach to other committees
Yeah,
right now.
I saw that in the
And
minutes.
so we never heard back from our previous rec liaison about when it would be good to come to the
We'll
rec
have to
committee.
speak to
He
him.
wasn't here. So I'm hoping we'll have better luck this time. I'm teasing, of course. So I'm kind of bummed that I'm not getting to work with Eric. But
And we have a slide thing we've made. It's like, what, 8 pages?
yes.
And
Yeah.
we just customize it for each group, and then we just go through it. It has like a nice
Yeah.
overview.
So we'll talk more about that there. But the liaison reports thing here is if anything has happened in our respect, since many of us are from committees that would talk about things that are relevant to CPA, it's an opportunity for us to bring that back to this committee.
Yes.
Right. Well, so I guess I have one liaison report item then. The Conservation Commission owns Matera Cabin, and Matera Cabin apparently needs some upgrading to make it able to be used by the general public again. It's currently closed to groups. So it seems to me that possibly some of those upgrades would be appropriate for CPA funding if we don't get them done before CPA funding becomes available. I would hate to have it closed for that long, but that's the kind of thing that I think it would be nice to already have CPA available, and we could go to CPA and say, we need these things for upgrades. And a key question came up from the committee, from the Conservation Commission, which was, can CPA funds be used for maintenance, or is it only upgrades? And my understanding was it's only upgrades. So if there is other information that we need to go back to them with, I would be happy to hear.
I'd also be curious, I don't know the exact literal history, but Matera Cabin is not a new structure. I actually wonder whether, even though I understand it's under the custody of the Conservation Commission, it is a building, it is not literally open space. However, it is a historic structure. I don't know if it's,
It's in the inventory. I'll check.
yeah, I'd be curious.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be an asset that the town wants to take care of for a long time, so.
Right.
Even
And-
if, yeah, this time you've got to get something together to get that, occupancy permit back in order.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there will always be another project.
Right. Some of the things are pretty small, like changing the doorknobs to be the handicap functional handles, So there are some small items and there are some bigger items that need to happen.
Well, Martha, this is just a couple of words on that maintenance issue. In the CPC materials that are put out, there's a really handy chart that gives a matrix of the different categories that are CPA fund eligible and the different types of projects, if you will, for each of those categories that are fundable and which are not. And this goes through open space and recreation, historic and housing. And then it breaks, consider those, if you will, to be the columns. The rows would be acquisition, creation, preservation, support, and rehab or restoration. Rehab and restoration has a little asterisk, which I'll read it out loud here. Maintenance expenditures are prohibited for all assets, even if they could otherwise be considered acquisition, creation, preservation, support, rehabilitation, or restoration. Maintenance includes incidental repairs that do not materially add to value of property or appreciably prolong the property's life, but keep the property in condition of fitness, efficiency, or readiness. So to convert Matera from ADA non-compliant to compliant, I would imagine goes beyond maintenance. But, this is a really gray area, and there probably is, some very close case-specific precedent to it that you could get some counsel on from CPC.
Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Yeah. Anything else on that item? All right, moving along. So, at Sarah's suggestion a meeting or two ago,
Oh,
we now
yeah.
have a standing agenda item for a example of a CPA project. I guess I didn't realize you had one.
Oh.
So I scrambled to find one today because I realized I
Oh,
hadn't
you
asked
did?
anyone.
We could do two. I don't know.
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right, if Margaret was here, I think I'd hand to her to read it, but even though I'm the historical liaison, I find that the affordable housing component really seems the most imperative. So this one caught my eye. It's in Pelham, Amethyst Brook Apartments. So this is affordable housing, Amethyst Brook Apartments, that was a CPA investment of $500,000, which is only a small portion of the 22 million cost. But this local commitment of CPA funds allowed the town to leverage several additional grants, including resources from the state's Department of Housing and Community Development. It's going to transform a previously developed 8-acre parcel of land into 34 rental units, the majority for households earning 60% or below the AMI, and 5 units for 30% below AMI. And these are numbers that are just not getting any inventory added to. So it's something that we've talked about in the past. So that's why I wanted to use this as an example. And it's also been designed with energy efficiency, solar panels, EV charging, certified to Passive House Energy Star standards. So I just think this is an amazing example, and I would love to believe Reading could do this someday. To really help that part of our population that struggles for housing. Did you have one?
The one I looked up, because I went looking for I didn't, we were giving our town resumes. I didn't mention that I was on conservation for a year before I was on finance. And in fact, that's where I learned about the CPA in the context of wanting to protect open space. So I went looking for an open space preservation project. I found So I guess Lowell adopted the CPA just in 2021. And their first big CPA project, maybe their first, I mean, it sounded like it was their first CPA project period, was purchasing a 20-acre property, a former farm that was a joint. This was another one of these leverage situations because it was, I don't have the numbers here, maybe in the actual article, but it was collaboration between Lowell's CPA as well as the they have a Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust, which sounds like kind of a Reading Open Land Trust analog. They have a Mill City Grows, which is like an urban farming community garden organization. And Mass Audubon contributed as well. And this is turning into the Pawtucket Wildlife Sanctuary in Lowell. It's pretty cool.
What are the dollars? Did you look it up?
I didn't, hold on, let me go see if I can find this quickly.
I
in the
like
article.
seeing how much is
Yeah,
leveraged.
so it was so the CPA grant was 1.5 million.
Mhm.
Oh, can the total was 12. So, yes.
10%.
Yeah, so that's a pretty cool example as well. In
Yeah.
terms of being able to get leverage and get a lot more for.
Yeah, the leveraging part I think is really fascinating. I didn't really know about that at first. And I know Margaret mentioned it. I think the person from Winchester mentioned it to us. the leveraging
Yes.
component. So I think I
Right.
don't think a lot of people know about that part. So and also that you can get a bond on the CPA funds for construction. So,
All right, cool.
Okay.
So in future agenda items, I will try to remember, please remind me to ask someone else to volunteer to come up with a CPA project for a future meeting.
That's a good idea.
So, all right, next on the agenda, Reading Fall Street Fair. I walked this town hall. It's the only reason I didn't bring the poster in. Otherwise, I could have brought in the map that we had,
Oh, yeah,
which was
yeah.
lovely.
Yes.
It's currently in the plastic protective bag that you
Uh-huh.
gave it to me in. So yeah, so we had a table at the Reading Fall Street Fair. I think, yeah,
Sandy was there.
I was gonna say all of us except Kate were there. So, but yes, what comments, observations, interesting questions you got? What would people like to share from that?
I think a lot of people that I spoke to said, I'd like to hear what the downsides are after we talked to them about it. So that was an interesting, they are open to hear more information. But also we had people put a marble in a cup to tell us which percentage we should ask the select board to put on the town meeting warrant. And Joe, do you have the numbers from that?
Oh, I do somewhere, and I don't have them up here.
Okay, well, my memory
No, I
is
don't.
the majority went for 1%, and there were about 50 people who voted. So that tells us that at least 50 people took the time to stop and talk to us long enough to understand what we were asking them to do and participate. So I feel good about that.
Yes, I don't have that
It's okay.
handy,
It's
but
okay. The point was the majority.
yes, but it was an interesting, and there was a lot of interesting conversations around that.
There
There was an
were.
awful lot of like, well, I'd like 1.5%, but I think we could get one,
Yeah.
which is I think a view shared by many people on this committee even, it's certainly been expressed. And one does have that very psychologically appealing property of being,
And one is at $98
yes,
per household.
that's where I was going with
That was really
Um,
important that you
it-
did the calculation so people could see. At one, it's like $90 for the whole year. So it's like,
Yes, no, I had
that's not
the
painful.
same data that I shared here where, based on FY25 property values, what the, what would it be, what would the, impact of a 0.5%, 1%, or 1.5% surcharge be on the, average, median, 10th percentile and 90th percentile home values. So, and yes, for the average house, the 1% does get you under the psychologically significant threshold of $100.
Mhm.
I fear that when, because everything goes up 2.5%, that when we run these numbers again next year, prior to, potentially voting on this in 2026, we will have just reached that threshold. But
Mhm.
I'm not going to recommend a 0.95%. There's something silly like that. I don't think wouldn't be my vote. So
Most homes are selling for about 1.5 million in Reading and higher. I know that's the sale price, not the assessed value. But when you have a new sale, sometimes that becomes the new assessed value. So Victor, our town assessor, who does a good job. So I think from when I was there for the hour, I think, we had the different scenarios on the table. We had the marbles and we had the map, and most people knew about it. Some people didn't. And I think it was very helpful to talk them through it on the benefits of it. And not many people, the hour I was there, were fussing about the tax increase. And again, very small sample. And unfortunately, as we know, a lot of people don't know this exists and are not going to know it's going to be on the ballot, unfortunately. And probably when we go to the ballot, I'm guessing it's like the schools, there'll be no, well, if your house is worth this, your taxes will go up this much. It's going to be, we pass CPA or don't pass CPA. So it's going to be our job and the people who want CPA to say, go for the benefits. I come from the conservative side. It's no secret to you guys. And most conservatives are conservative and don't want to see an increase in taxes, no matter what the amount is. And like I said last year, unfortunately, the timing of this is going to be maybe on the heels of an override or talk of an override. Um, so that, I mean, it was a good day. Don't get me wrong, from the feedback, but we have to convince, 51% that it's beneficial in the long run. It may suck in the short run. Your taxes go up, but then it may, deter future overrides. Will, not rely on free cash. Joe knows a lot about that. The finance committee. So we're in a great spot right now in the town, especially on the town side. Never mind the school side. School side I think is okay, but the town side we're not doing well financially. The money's coming in, but we're using too much free cash, and all of our taxes are going to go up in the next couple of years significantly. So those are unfortunately the negatives that are against this on the timing. I don't think those two projects will be on the tax rolls yet in 26, or maybe a small portion of
they're
Killam,
starting.
right?
Yeah, we were asking Sharon about this at the last finance committee meeting about the timing of like when is the money being borrowed. It sounds like, and we asked her actually to come to the financial forum next month with hopefully a more detailed estimate of how much is being borrowed for next year, how much is being borrowed for the year after that.
Yeah,
An idea of how much of because we saw before we voted on Killam what the tax impact would be of the whole thing, but not how much would happen each year.
right, correct.
So yeah, that's a good point.
I can say a couple of things quickly, which is,
Can you say them loudly at the thing on the ceiling?
yeah, can you hear me guys?
No.
Well, I can't hear you well.
Okay, I was there for about 2 hours, and I probably talked to about a dozen people, and my sampling was a lot heavier on people who asked hard questions or were kind of wary. I won't say combative, but they were playing devil's advocate with me on what I'll call the financial cost associated with this. And so I would say almost half of the people I talked to, this was a concern that they needed to get past. And the conversation may have been a little bit helpful in as much as I was able to give them information, but I think they're a hard sell. Was that something you could hear?
Yeah, I'm straining, but yeah, I heard you. It's, you know, Joe has the best. Joe has the best sound.
I mean, if I scoot, in all seriousness, if I scoot a little over to try to share the sweet spot in front of the microphone a little bit more,
Yeah.
I'm trying to help these folks out. So, all right, yeah, no,
Oh, I had a question. Carlo, you said
Yeah.
that this may come on the, can you hear me?
Yes.
You said that the vote, I'll assume it's on the ballot, may come after or on the heels of an override. Did I?
I think I misspoke there. I apologize. In my mind, I was thinking one thing, but I came out wrong. It's going to be on our minds. It's going to be on our minds. It is, it already has started at Finance Committee and my board. Chris is the chair, is trying to, almost at every meeting, trying to go over certain budget items in different departments. And, Sharon does a great job. And we have great bond ratings, and all that fun stuff, but it doesn't take away the fact that we're using free cash for our operating budget, which is never good. And the number's only going up every year, unfortunately. So, an override is probably inevitable, depending on the amount. It's going to be very strategic and targeted. As we all remember, the first override failed. That was primarily for the schools. They came back, they got focused, asked for a smaller amount, and it passed. Or, there was yes for Reading. So that worked. So as far as I said that wrong, I apologize. It's going to be top of mind for the people who are paying attention. For the majority of the town, they have no clue. They have no clue we're getting a new Killam. They have no clue we're getting a senior center. That's the majority of our taxpayers, and that's the way it is. That's how I was when I was in Wakefield. So I get it, families, careers, taking care of the people, the parents, and whatever the case is. So I totally get it. Does that help us or hurt us on this vote? I don't have an answer for that. But the people who are educated and vote at local elections, that 20 to 25%, that's going to decide this for everybody, like every election. So I think that's just the way it's going to be. Override is going to be probably a little bit chattier, more top of mind in 2026. It's a year from now, a year and a month, almost 2 months. So every financial forward we have going forward is going to be talking about an override, not in detail, but how do we lessen the impact? How do we get ahead of it a little bit? We don't know what we're going for state aid year to year. That's a problem. So there's a lot of unknowns, but the revenues are the revenues, all the fees we get, through the fire department's new presentation. Chief Nelson, we went up on all our fees. So that's going to generate a little bit of extra money for the town. Nothing that's going to break the bank, but things like this, I don't like going up on fees, but we were way behind, like 20 years behind. So we all voted to support that, to get current. So these little things, all these little things help. So as far as this goes, Sandy, you were part of this over 20 years ago. What was the margin? Do you remember, Sandy, 20 years ago?
Less than 1%.
Wow. Yeah. So there's a lot of people who want it. So, and the town has changed a lot over the past 20 years. A lot of young families. I was at that pizza event on Saturday, and a lot of strollers, a lot of babies.
And just remember when it was in the ballot 20 years ago, the other thing that was on the same ballot was the override for the high school.
Ah, yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah.
yeah, or debt exclusion, but same difference. Yes, there was another significantly larger tax hike on the same ballot for the high school building. So yeah. All right, let's move along. I think we've got our takeaways from the street fair. Glad we did that. Gotta say it was good to get to talk to people who weren't my usual people I talk to around town. So, all right. So speaking of talking to people, continuing our outreach to other committees, we've had, let's see, I've tried to keep notes on this since our last meeting.
Martha and I did one.
So yes, you did climate advisory, housing authority,
School committee.
yeah,
you.
school committee. Did you talk to the historical commission? No? Okay, no,
What,
no.
was I supposed to?
No,
Okay,
I
will.
don't,
I will.
that's,
I'll
that's
do
fine.
that.
We
I'll do that. We have a meeting
we'll
next
get to
week.
that. Don't worry, let's talk about the ones we talked to, and then we'll talk about the ones we are gonna talk.
Okay.
Chronological order. So, yes, so, school committee and then, conservation was just last week. And, we have already booked meetings with Trails, CPDC, the Financial Forum, Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We were invited. I think we didn't even propose it, but Andrew McNichol reached out to
What are the
us.
dates for those?
Yes, so, the Trails Committee meeting is Wednesday. I understand, I wasn't in the conversation, but it's
October 1st, right?
October 1st,
Yeah.
yes. Martha's
Martha's
going
doing
to
it.
be there, that's the plan?
Yes, I have agreed to do that one. I just want to give you guys a heads up. My husband just tested positive for COVID today, which is why I'm zooming in. So I have emailed to John to see if, since they'll be in the conference room at Town Hall, whether I can zoom in to do my presentation, just in case I am, spreading COVID if I come in person. I'm waiting to hear back on that answer. But I am game to go to that, and I think everybody else that was asked had other commitments that day, so I'll do my best.
I haven't
Martha,
been,
you got the slide thing, right?
Yes, I got it today. You sent it to me and I forwarded it to John.
Okay, great.
So hopefully, and I copied Chuck because Chuck usually goes to those Trails meetings. So hopefully he can bring his computer and play it on the screen for us.
Okay.
And if, just a second here, if Kate would like to come with me to that meeting and hear how we do it, I would be happy to have her come as an observer and not put her on the spot to talk.
Is that this Wednesday?
Yes,
And what time is that?
6:30, I believe.
30, I thought, yeah.
I cannot do 6:30. I could do after 8, or what, does it run long?
No,
I
they
doubt
wanted
they'll
us
run
to
that
do
long.
it first.
Yeah.
To get it open. So
Yeah,
that's all right, you can do
I
it.
can't.
Okay,
But there
Sorry,
are
Martha,
a
but
bunch
thanks
of
for the
other,
invitation.
we have 3 other already planned, so.
Okay, next.
Then we'll have other opportunities for Kate
CPDC.
to ride along.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the Trails Committee one, yeah, I mean, if you can't make it, Martha, if they can't have you remote or whatever, we can just go to another month.
Yeah.
but, You know, a little, yeah. All right,
Okay.
so CPDC is meeting on the 6th. Previously I wrote down that Sarah and Sandy were going to that. I don't know if that's correct. Does that sound right to Sarah and Sandy?
Well, and that's Tuesday,
I believe
Usually on a Monday.
Monday, okay.
that's correct. It is Monday. So a week from today.
Okay.
Cool.
So do we have a focus for the CPDC where they're not one of the 3 pillars, but they deal with the housing?
Yes, so with, I mean, with CPDC, and this is actually, we haven't gone and talked about the, oh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm not, on the,
Sorry.
that's a good point and worth sharing with the class. We'll get back to that in a second. You were asking about why talk to CPDC at all.
Yes.
My understanding, I don't think it was my idea, but I think my understanding was it was something akin to talking to, you know, school committee or council on aging, where it's not necessarily that committee is responsible for one of the pillars of the CPA, but rather that is just a really important group of stakeholders in town that we'd like to connect with and get their input.
Actually, they are.
Well, I mean, they have some relationship to affordable.
They will become a pillar of the committee, CPA committee.
Oh, do CPA committees usually have a CPDC representative?
Planning board. That's the
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
It kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
So just prospectively, they're very relevant, I would say.
yes. Oh, okay, I did not know that. Is the membership of the CPA committee, because like the membership of this committee, we formed it based on sort of copying what other towns did. It wasn't prescribed that you had to do a study committee with certain members.
It's specified by statute.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so there must be representatives from,
Concom, planning, historical housing, and park commissioners.
okay.
Okay.
So I didn't hear, are Sandy and Sarah able to go on October 6th?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
so they're on for that. And then, yes, I think what I might have heard Kate and Sandy talking about, Kate can join as long as the rest of us don't.
Okay.
Because we
Let's
don't want
just
to
move right
form an
along.
accidental quorum, or we could post too, that's the alternative, but I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah.
CPDC, I should add, is actually on our CTV, so, the rest of us, for that matter, Kate, if you want to, but you might want to be there in
Yeah,
person.
prefer to go with these guys.
Sure, but yes, so if the rest of us are curious, we can always watch it on, YouTube or
What's
whatever.
the time on the 6th?
I don't know. It might be in Andrew's email.
Joe, I would find out where you are on the agenda because I think the Primrose School is on again that night.
Hmm.
And that's gonna be a potential circus, so you wanna get in there before that, if you can.
I mean, that's a question, I'll let you guys talk to Andrew about the layout of the agenda, but other committees have generally put us at the beginning so that we can,
Get out.
say our
Yeah.
piece and then, they can ask us questions so we can leave. So,
Is there an agenda posted yet for that meeting?
I was gonna say, there should be an agenda.
no, but they don't have to post until,
No, they don't have to post till Wednesday.
or, no, they have to post on Wednesday, because it's 2 town hall business days.
Yeah, they have to post on Wednesday, right?
So, we often post on, well, actually, I guess select board often posts on Thursday for a Tuesday meeting. Finance committee often posts on Thursday for a Wednesday meeting. Finance committee is just extra like that. So, all right, it's more so that Jax only needs to do the posting thing once, I imagine, rather than doing it again on Monday. All right, so we haven't talked about the presentations we did, and we should do that. Yeah, so we'll have to find out when, when was are you looking up when the last CPDC meeting was?
Oh, I'm just saying, it was the 8th, September 8th.
And they met
So what's
on,
that,
and they
the
met 7
first?
PM. Okay,
We were not on that agenda.
no,
Yeah.
so we didn't go, right. There was a bit of a miscommunication about whether we were gonna
Okay.
be on that
And did-
agenda, but we
Do they
weren't.
meet here or usually you don't?
Here.
I'll find it.
They meet here. but
Usually
It's
here.
also hybrid. It's always.
Usually there.
I mean,
Okay.
And
Oh,
they've had other meetings since the 8th.
Oh,
That wasn't their last meeting.
okay, yeah, they had,
Oh,
They meet every 2 weeks like the select board.
oh, okay.
did they? Oh,
Well, we
okay.
can call the town clerk tomorrow and,
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Figure it out.
I'm sure they'll post shortly, or you can,
yeah.
again,
okay.
my advice actually is the email thread that you have with Andrew McNichol about, I'm sure that he could answer your questions about meeting logistics, since he is the
And you can
associate.
reach out to Heather directly as well.
Yeah, sure, Sarah's on that one, right?
yeah, I don't have a recent
I'll
email.
send it to you. We'll coordinate.
Okay.
Oh, you're right.
You're taking
That's
that one out
addressed
and
to-
just put me in the loop.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I had started it out with Andrew.
I replied and I added Sarah.
Oh, you did?
Yes, on the September 25th, so. All right, let's get on with back to talking about the ones that the meetings we went to. So in chronological order, I think the first meeting we presented to or any of us presented to that we haven't talked about was climate advisory. That,
It was great. Do you want to speak first, Martha?
I'll let you go.
I thought it was great. It was like we were preaching to the choir. They were all like really like, yeah, it sounds all good to us. And yeah, it was great. Did you want to go into specifics, Martha?
Just they said they would vote at their next meeting on our two questions, which was, would they vote to support it and what percentage do they want? And I haven't heard back from them whether they took that vote or not. So I think one of us should follow up with them. That's all I have. Yeah. That's all I made notes of from that.
All right, so no questions or feedback we want to make a note of there. Okay. Then there was the Reading Housing Authority on the 25th of August. I think Sandy was there along with Margaret. How'd it go?
Well, the board was there, together with KD.
Mhm.
And Karen Rose Gillis was there. I'm not sure why she was there, but.
I think she wants to learn more about it.
Housing. She may be the select board's liaison to housing. And there were, I don't know, maybe about 20 residents, which I found interesting. And Katie explained to me that they try to drum up public participation. So it was not just the committee, but constituents of that community, which was good. The presentation was formatted by Margaret doing a fairly lengthy sort of overview introduction, and then I kind of worked my way through the slides. And Katie cut us off after about 30 minutes. So we did have an agenda and then used to get through it. We did leave the questions, and her statement to me was, don't worry, this is a standing item on our agendas whenever we meet, so we'll get back to you. That said, Margaret's away for this month, I think. I haven't heard from Katie, so maybe I'll just remind her that we're looking for her. Although I think it was probably best that Margaret carried that with the housing board when she gets back.
I guess the two introductions we didn't do in absentia, by the way. Margaret is the member of this committee from the Reading Housing Authority, and then the Katie Gallant is the is a non-voting member of this committee as the director of the Reading Housing Authority. So
They're like whizzes at making Canva presentations.
yeah, Margaret has serious presentation game. So
I mean, our presentations together were rich, but they were a little overlapping and long, which sort of was a takeaway for me. And we'll get to this when Martha and I talk about Concom, because I wasn't quite sure of what the best format for a dual presentation was. So we introduced a different format, which we'll talk about when we get to Concom.
okay, cool. So I think next was school committee. That was Sarah and I. I think we solved the 2% problem by me talking too much. So the school committee, let's see, what were the, I mean, we made sure to highlight the fact that, two school buildings are historic properties, Joshua Eaton and Parker. And also, obviously any, recreation space, school sports fields are open space. So that's all in scope. We got certainly feedback.
You also mentioned, like, for instance, the New Killam School doesn't have money for a playground yet, remember?
Yes.
So that CPA funds can go for playground equipment.
Yep.
So.
Yes. I have to imagine they're going to get a playground one way or another. But yes.
But if it
yeah.
comes from town free cash, that's not so
No,
good.
no. So.
And for instance, you gave the example of Parker had to get a new roof. What did that cost?
About $1 million. I do 900,000 the actual roof.
Yeah, and since it's a historical property, that could have been paid by CPA funds.
Yes. Yeah. No, I did include that in my.
Right. I'm just sharing with these guys, just so they know when they're doing their talks and stuff.
Yeah.
It's good to know those things. I think the thing that surprised me about the school committee was I thought we were generally like only going to speak towards like how this would benefit the school committee, and it sort of ended up turning into like the overall you know.
I mean, there was, I don't want to put this, I mean, you know, general concerns were raised, that were not necessarily school specific, although actually, I guess, come to think of it, a lot of the concerns really, I mean, you know, Martha said there was that question a while back about what's the downside. Well, the downside is that people don't want to pay more taxes, silly. That's it. There's the lack of a free lunch is the problem. So, and indeed, the school committee is, you know, they are obviously the schools being 60% of the town budget or something like that. Actually, no, I think it's about 50%. But unless you split accommodated costs in half between the two parts, in which case it's over 60. You know, they will be, you know, when eventually we do need an override, you know, they will be the, you know, the bigger share of the impact there in terms of they will be the ones trying to figure out, you know, how to keep paying all of the, you know, their you know, many staff. So,
Okay, bring it back.
yes,
Yeah.
sorry. It's been a long day, I apologize. So, you know, basically anything that endangers an override is a giant red flag to them,
Yes.
to several of them, which I get. And I quipped to them like, oh yeah, well, if I had to choose between an override and the CPA, I said, well, Sarah, it's been fun, but we're done here. I wouldn't, I would you know, vote for an override twice rather than you know, if we're rather than put the CPA above, you know, keeping our teachers and first responders and whatnot all in place.
I think that's Carl, I think Carlo raises a good point. It's the, you know, it's the environment that we're bringing this into.
Yeah.
Just, I mean,
Yeah.
you're the chair
So-
of the committee, Joe, and you're ready to, if you have to.
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah, no, it's right.
So
It would be,
it's very
yes.
difficult if we're going up against that.
Yeah, so there was one very creative suggestion that I wanted to pass on. I don't think this is practical, but it was very thought provoking. Was whether it would be possible to get the CPA and an override onto the same ballot.
You mean the same question?
No, the two questions, but get them on the same ballot. And it would be a, you know, you'd end up with a single campaign where you're saying, you know, your taxes would go up by this much. Of that, this much goes to, you know, keeping, you know, algebra and foreign language in middle schools, and this much goes to preserving open space and historic properties and creating affordable housing. And, you know, this much is part of the town operating budget, and this much will be controlled by a committee of residents. And so, I mean, I think that's a really cool framing. As another point that Carlo correctly made a minute ago is that it's very hard to predict the timing of some future override. I mean, it's a sort of an arithmetic inevitability under Proposition 2.5. Someday there will be an override. But, you know, someday could be, I mean, the last override was projected to last 3 to 5 years. That was 7 years ago. So fortunately, that prediction was wildly wrong. But
Well,
that's, you know, unfortunately, the predictions to go
you
like,
could argue
it
that,
could go in the other way too.
or you could argue that it's really right, but Reading chooses not to acknowledge it. Reading's historically has always been very good at stretching it longer than the
There's, I'm about to
state
say,
average of over.
credit to multiple town managers and town accountant and so forth. Also, the other thing about the prediction is that nobody knew COVID was coming. COVID turned out to actually be relatively good to town budgets. For one thing, the ARPA funds were allowed to fund many things the town might have otherwise funded itself. So that was one factor that, you know, was a one-time thing. In any case, it's hard to predict. There's also might be some logistical challenges. One thing about the CPA is it has to be part of a regular election. Override questions are sometimes special elections.
Right.
I don't think they necessarily have to be, but
I want to inject here, just to make sure we're reminded of this, that Chase told us to stay away from the things that would go against CPA. In the way that we present it, and obviously what we also invite into the mix, I heard that loud and clear from him. I
Mhm.
don't know if you heard the same.
Oh, yeah,
thing.
yes, no, I know what you're talking about.
To join the issue is certainly interesting, but I'm not so sure that it would be politically helpful.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting,
I also wonder if we have time to talk about this on the agenda or whether we should do it now. Because I'm not seeing this as a lack of a free lunch. I actually think that you could pitch it as at least a free picnic or,
Free
some sort of snack, yes. I really do.
I think I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is the time, but the way I found myself thinking about this and talking about it with the people that I sort of, whether it's, just out on the street or in these outreach campaigns, is credit to you. We spend about $1 million a year in CPA eligible projects on average. That's
Yep.
the history.
Yep.
And that's a fact. And I don't think anybody can assume that we wouldn't do we wouldn't do it any less going forward. So there's sort of a baseline. On top of that, if you just take what I think is the consensus, or at least the straw poll sense of the committee, that we would recommend going with 1%, that is about $1 million that would come into the town through locally raised surcharge revenue, together with the state match, at what I'm going to say is the minimum that probably will be the case. Which I think was 15 or 20%, somewhere in that.
It was
vicinity.
20 last year.
No,
right?
but if you just look at the smallest number, I think it was 14.
14 is the smallest it's ever been.
Together with the 1% surcharge, you get to about $1 million. So therein you have a free portion of what the town would spend in any event, small but material. And then if you start talking about all of the leverage opportunities that we've heard about, where, particularly in housing, there's a ton of matching funds. Even in open space, you can tap into some, mostly federal, some state programs for grants. There's all sorts of booster type things or partnership type things, with Reading Open Land Trust being an example that I'm familiar with. And so if you add on top of that all the alchemy that you can get by having this seed money dedicated to these things that can get contribution from other sources, I don't see how you can't, with a very straight face and, a very influential presentation, say, this is not a cost. This is not a cost. This is a savings. And we're getting all these community assets without having to pay fully for them ourselves. And we would be paying for them in any event.
Did we record that? Oh, I guess we are being recorded.
Well,
That was good. You did a good job.
You'll have to
saying that.
ask Jax for the recording.
I don't know. I mean,
But
play
yes.
devil's advocate.
No,
because
no,
I'm
no,
out
I-
there still trying to sell
Well,
this.
point, yes, no, point well taken. And that's this is actually, I think we're actually maybe even saying the same thing different ways, because if you framed, like, if Reading is gonna keep, valuing what Reading values,
Right.
then, and the town values are not going to suddenly change overnight. Voters are still gonna like the same things that they liked, year over year in the past. Then, yes, you can either, raise taxes, whatever, 5% to, meet the increased operational needs and keep funding what we've already been doing. Or you can raise taxes 4% plus doing the CPA. And now that stuff that we were already doing, we're doing with a state match on top.
There's that third leg of the equation, which is what we're calling leverage or seed money or partnership. Or,
Right.
And it just has the potential to really turbocharge the whole thing and get people excited about, geez, we have more to work with to do the same thing. And it's not only at our cost.
Yeah.
Can I give a counterpoint to that?
Yeah, please.
So I like it, and I'm part of this group, but the counterpoint would be, I would assume from a lot of people, would be, why can't the town just do a better job if they're mismanaging the funds, if the town can't, if the town is using free cash for their operational budget, why am I gonna trust the town and the state? It's a lot of, Sandy, you're 100% right, the benefits and the match. But you have to get over a hump of elderly people, the seniors that vote, the conservatives that, you know, or people who have lost their jobs or whatever. The economy is kind of wonky right now. So it's like, okay, this all sounds great, but if the town did a better job and we didn't even override at all, or a very small override, then maybe it was supposed to basically prove to me that this is worthy enough of my vote, even though you've sucked the past so many years. You know what I mean? That's the counter argument. I guess of any town government stuff, right? Every town does overrides. Well, almost every town. I can't say all. 351 we have, but in this area, Stoneham's big one failed. Belmont passes them like they're candy. Winchester passes them like they're candy. But Reading, we tend to fight back on the amount. Is it the right amount? Is it the wrong amount? So that would be my counter argument to your very good statement on the benefits of CPA. But you got to convince people like me to say, you know, oh, don't look here. You know, the town's not doing a great job of managing the funds, but let's increase your taxes.
Yeah, and the way I interpret that sentiment, Carlo, is that constituency or that perspective doesn't want to give the government any more money to mismanage in whatever. In other words, the more you give them, the more mismanagement and inefficiency there is. And whether or not we're getting more misses the point. We don't want to spend more. And my point fundamentally is the management is efficient and we're going to spend that money in any event. Just look at history. And unless you can convince me that, you know, the sort of the programmatic priorities are going to dramatically change, why not get the free lunch?
Right.
No, I'm not saying you're wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, I think, again, I'm not, it's not exact.
How do you address
Can
that?
I'm about to say,
Okay.
I want to cut this off. It's an interesting conversation. We are veering off the agenda. We haven't even talked about one of the committees we talked to. There are committees that we would like to talk to that we haven't talked about talking to them yet. So if
Add this to the agenda,
uh,
this discussion
yes,
next time, right?
yes,
Because it's really good discussion.
yes.
It's really good
And
discussion.
and as we've already established, I'm bad at saying no. This is apparently part of the, yes. All right, yes. All right. So, how would you like to, just so I capture this in my
Let's do
notes?
the next, the last.
Well, but let me capture this in the notes for future agendas. This is like, I mean, this is just discussing.
Well, it's a discussion of how, and you can fancy it up, it's a discussion of how you're gonna pitch the presentation, how you're gonna sell the concept to the voters.
Yeah, well, and so, okay, there's, that's an interesting point because,
Goes to merits.
yes,
supposed
so,
to do
so,
that.
so we are, so we're a town committee, so we are the sorts of political or quasi-political activity we can engage in, it's kind of, it's not intuitive. We are allowed to lobby town meeting to our heart's content, and we are not allowed to lobby the voters in the slightest.
The voters what?
In the slightest, at all. Like, we may not use town resources for political activities, full stop.
Right. Yeah.
So, so when it comes to like, we can, you know, give our report to select board, we can talk to town meeting, we can be as opinionated as we want to be. But the fact that there's going to be a ballot question and how people should vote on that, we actually have to skirt around that in order to not be engaging in political activity on the town's dime. So there will almost certainly be a, you know, Reading, you know, CPA for Reading ballot question committee.
Yeah.
It may involve many of the same people and probably a bunch more.
So
But
we shouldn't, this committee shouldn't be having a
So,
discussion like we just had.
a little, I mean, don't apply it to the voters. So,
The audience is telling me.
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay, so let's talk about the one meeting we had. There was a bit of a teaser about conservation. What was conservation?
Yeah, that was me and Sandy.
Yes. How'd it go?
Do you want to talk about our format, Sandy?
And this was my bright idea, and I'm not sure I'm not sure whether it turned out to be good or not, but it was to try and take it, and instead of doing either an introduction and then the body of the presentation or alternate slides between the two people who were doing it, it was set up as a Q&A. And Martha and I did not practice the Q&A, so we kind of did it, just impromptu. And I think that the question, the way it was done is that one of us would introduce the question at the head of the slide, and the other one of us would do the content of the slide. And then it would flip back to the questioner to add into the content to the extent something wasn't covered. So theoretically, it was more of a animated presentation as opposed to a monologue, which was, I thought, a good idea. But I don't think I don't know how the commission received it, Martha. And I thought we needed to kind of work it through. Do some preparation to make it a little bit smoother, and I'll say more balance between the two people. I think that was the big thing, is it wasn't balanced.
Yeah. And also because Chuck was on Arlington's CPA committee, he knew a lot about what was eligible and what wasn't. So, Sandy and I would be giving this presentation, and then Chuck would fill in all of the information that he knew about it, which was often more than we did. So
Chuck had a question, and I'm still not sure it was, or a statement actually. This is Joe, for you in particular, which is, he said that projects on the capital plan are not eligible for CPA. And I shook my head and I said, I've never heard of that, I've never read it. And I'm not sure that I can concur with that, but I'll try to check it out. And I did try to check it out, and I couldn't find anything on the CPC website, although I didn't spend too long looking at it. So I'm going to go back to him and see if I can drill down on that and understand what the basis for what he was saying to me, or whether or not I misheard him, and he can sharpen up the statement. But that's just a follow-up point with Chuck. And then one other thing that I had to add, Martha, on the presentation, had to do with, I think it was the chair's question about the composition of the CPA committee. This actually came up at the street fair a couple of times with me too. People who have the background on what CPA is, or are listening and picking it up and understanding it relatively quickly, are jumping ahead to, okay, so how does this work? And they're very interested in the committee and the power that the committee would have, the purse strings, if you will, that they wouldn't control, that they would be a filter and a recommendation to town meeting. So there are some people anyway who are very interested in that, which kind of goes to the bylaw committee, I think. And I don't know if you did it.
We haven't talked to them yet.
So
Back to that, yeah.
but that was the only other thing that came up that was notable to me, Martha.
yeah, I think that covers it. And they also have not yet voted, but they're planning to vote at the next meeting. So at some point, we need to be collecting up the names of the committees and how they voted, so that when we present it to the select board, we will have that data to bring with us.
Yes.
The one other thing which I'll it's a little out of place here.
I was
I'll
gonna
make it
say.
really short, is I bumped into Andrew, I bumped into Katie, and we bumped into Chuck as we're doing these outreaches. And the thought is that maybe we should be sitting down with key administrative staff
Hmm.
who are going to be, in some cases, guiding the committees that they serve on how this kind of plays out. And we may learn more than we educate them on
Mhm.
by interacting. So there may be a handful or maybe even more staffs in town that we might consider core employees that is not committees and boards, but you know, paid professional staff.
Right.
Recreation director,
Yep.
whatever the title is.
Mhm.
You mean
We might
athletic
want to
director?
add that as
No,
another,
recreation
Uh,
department.
Supervisor,
Oh,
administrator.
might want to add that as another outreach.
That's a really good idea.
Audience.
Yeah, I think that's a good,
who
Yeah.
is that?
Jim Sullivan.
Yeah. Yeah, we get. Instruction. I mean, we did kind of hear from Katie because she helped with the presentation. She and Margaret presented together to this committee. But yeah, we haven't talked to Chuck or Andrew directly or Jim. So, okay. All right, so that's a good segue to further outreach we still want to do. We talked about the ones we've already made plans with. We've talked about the ones we have already talked to. In terms of other folks we want to talk to. So I'll start with the ones that are represented here because we haven't presented to historical and we haven't presented to recreation yet.
I can do a historical, but we're meeting next week, so it's too late to get on that agenda, so I can get on the November agenda. Is that too late?
When are they meeting in November?
It's the first Wednesday of the month, or the second.
I mean, at some point you start running into, yeah, but I guess town meeting is probably the third Wednesday. I have to check that.
Oh, okay.
As soon as you say November, I get nervous calendar wise because town meeting is not yet on my personal calendar.
November 10th.
I might be able to bring it up.
Oh,
under
boy.
other
Okay. So yeah, so
business.
actually second Monday of the month is November is the first night of town meeting. I will have a finance committee meeting on the first Wednesday of the month. That doesn't mean you all can't go without me, of course. Yes. So, all right, so let me write this stuff down. So, got a historical commission meeting on November 5th. Sarah's sort of the free bingo square because she's on that committee.
Yeah, I can do it by myself.
Well, does anyone else want to join you though? I mean, I think it's nice to have,
Okay.
I mean, unless you don't want to
No,
like.
no, I don't mind. I just.
I can do the fifth.
Wouldn't want to be seen with the rest of us.
Very
All
nice bunch.
right. That would be cool. I think it's well, let me put it this way. I have appreciated not presenting on my own to the couple that you and I have done. So, all right. So then let's see. Recreation. I'm sure. Obviously, that is not a question that Kate has looked into yet. She just got here.
I'm just looking at my calendar. I think I will be away for our next meeting, but why don't I can talk to Jim this week, get us on the agenda, and then maybe
Others of
Eric
us.
would be happy to do it.
I mean, Eric certainly,
I can reach out to
Let's
him
pick some
and see if
stuff up.
he's gonna be around.
yeah, and others of us could go. Do you know when that would be?
It's usually the third Monday,
So that'll be, well, wait, today is no, hold on.
so is
What am
that
I
the
doing?
20th or something like that?
Hold on.
Sarah, what time's that meeting? 7
Mm.
for the historical?
It is at 6:30.
6:30. Yeah, we have a 6:30 rec meeting too.
20th at 7. Yeah, it's or rec is 6:30.
Rec is 6:30.
I
Why
can't,
don't I'll speak with Jim tomorrow and Eric and I'll get back to you,
okay,
all right?
yeah, you can reply to me and I can
Yep.
see about, reach out to other people and see if other people want to go. Carlo, I know you haven't done any of these, but I do also know that rec is probably the CPA topic closest to your heart, so if you wanted to, I want to make sure, you had the option.
Yeah, I mean, let me know and, if schedules line up, I mean, I meet on every other Tuesday and, have a few other commitments sometimes, but yeah, I have no problem. Or I could do the one for our board, whatever, for my board, whenever you want to do that.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's kind of the, select board is
Big cajon.
that's the final boss. That is I mean, that's literally the reason this committee exists is to report back to the select board. The select board formed this
Really the
committee
one that matters.
to do a bunch of homework and come back. So yeah, that is I assume that will be sort of literally the last presentation we do. Although actually I say that,
Have the whole board there.
oh yeah, we'll, yes, there'll be a couple of these things where we should cross post. For finance committee, by the way, the financial forum on October 8th, I don't think we talked about that. I think, several people, when we talked about it before, a bunch of people expressed interest. I assume that we should just, post for that, like it's one of our meetings. And then, actually, while we're on the topic, is there someone who's not me, who would like to give the CPA presentation, or what could be two people, especially depending on format, to give the presentation to the finance committee, because I suspect that it will work better, it's not me talking to myself.
And is that on October 8th or is that a different day?
October 8th, that's the October 8th one.
I can't do that because I have conservation that night.
Yeah.
I have family coming in from Europe. I apologize.
Oh,
I mean, I could, but
so I know
maybe Margaret could do it.
Margaret expressed, yes, I was gonna say Margaret expressed interest in that.
Yeah.
So, okay, I can follow up with,
October 8th,
correct,
that is the financial forum.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That is one of our outreach to the finance committee will just be our presentation to
Can
the,
you make it?
So aren't they giving a presentation? Isn't the committee giving a public presentation?
so the financial forum is actually it's more people giving presentations to the finance committee rather than the other way around. Although then the finance committee also opines, and then at the next meeting, the finance committee votes on the all important question of guidance on the size of the operating budget. Which,
I can volunteer as- I don't know if I should be the only one.
no. Well, so Margaret did express interest at our August meeting. So, and she didn't get to do any of our September ones because
Right.
she's been away, so.
If she can't do it, I can do it, but we're gonna be doing one 2 days before on the 6th, so.
Yeah,
we're team
I'll,
together. But Margaret probably would be good.
I'll start with Margaret and then, yes, I mean, again, if we're here, we can, yeah. So, all right. Speaking of Margaret, we've been invited to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund meeting on the 15th.
Right.
I have another finance committee meeting, the one where we theoretically go back and vote based on all the great things we learned the week before. But I'm taking for granted that Margaret will be there. I don't know if anyone is particularly interested in that, wants to join. I
What
think,
time is it?
I don't, is it in, that might be in Andrew's email. Let me go find it. Okay. All right. We'll have to check on that.
I will not be available on the 15th either. I apologize.
I don't have anything.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that was Sandy and Sandy and Margaret did running Housing Authority. I'm wondering if Sarah wants to team up with Margaret this time or something.
That's fine.
I mean, the other things, I guess Margaret's kind of got this, doesn't she?
She does, she's a member of the Housing Trust. if
I,
got the
I
name correct.
believe she's the chair of that Affordable Trust Fund Committee.
Yeah.
So,
Well, TBD, do we see Margaret, is she coming
Yes.
back soon, or do we know?
should be, she said September, so
Okay.
that's it's only September for another
Right.
day.
Mhm.
So, all right, I will reach out to Margaret about these. All right, about financial forum and housing trust fund. All right, I will reach out to her and then I'll try to pull, judiciously pull in one other committee member so as to not make a quorum. To see about helping with those based on the discussion we've had here. All right, cool. Back to the list. See, recreation, TBD, bylaw committee, we've been chatting with, Jesse, Arnold is the chair of bylaw committee. Bylaw committee is having a bit of fun these days because there's a, relatively controversial bylaw change, on the, warrant for November town meeting. They have been having multiple forums to get input on that. And
What is it?
it's the snow shoveling,
Oh,
downtown snow shoveling bylaw. So, which has been sort of proposed in various ways in the past, but now it's actually, I think, being brought forward as a bylaw by the bylaw committee. So, that, I don't know when that will happen. That might happen in November, or it might happen even later. Obviously, we'd like to talk to them because they're going to be stakeholders in forming, writing the bylaw for creating a Community Preservation Act committee if the CPA is adopted. For now, I think it's, we'll see. We'll talk to them as soon as we can, but I don't know when that will be because of their schedule. Let's see. The other ones we wrote down were Board of Library Trustees, Board of Cemetery Trustees, and Council on Aging. Sarah, did you ever hear back from any of those?
nope, but I didn't reach out or send again, so. I'm interested in the cemetery people only because they did come to the historic commission a year or two ago, looking for funds to help repair some damaged areas in the cemetery. Laurel Hill is a historical
Yes.
area.
Yeah.
And so it would be nice to reach out to have that person. I'd like to go, so I'll work on that.
Okay, let's, let's see about like identifying people to reach out to the various other stakeholders so we can get through this, because, sorry, this is dragging.
They probably don't meet very often.
I mean, it's, cemetery trustees, like, is anyone especially interested in reaching out to the, Council on Aging or, library trustees? All right.
Yeah, I'll take library.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so.
We're trying to schedule. No, session.
Is that what we're doing?
Yes, yeah.
Is the cemetery one on a board? I don't see it showing up here. What's it called?
Board of Cemetery Trust.
Board of Cemetery Trustees.
It's like a 2 or 3 person.
Oh, there it is.
Yes, yeah.
I went right past it. Yep.
Yes, of Board of Health, in alphabetical order.
Oh, Janine Blodgett.
Yeah. So, all right. Let's see, what other outreach do we want to plan right now? We've talked about a lot of others. Like, I'm worried that we're stretching ourselves a bit thin here. And then we've talked about town staff. Do we want to plan any else of that now, or are we running out of steam?
We have already got a lot of marching.
Yes, we have a lot of outreach planned. So, all right, let's keep going. I mean, some of these things are also maybe a little bit more, might be more the province of some hypothetical future ballot question committee, like getting all of the various sports booster organizations excited about having money for rec facilities. Those folks aren't necessarily going to lobby town meeting, but they're going to potentially turn out and vote, that sort of thing. So that's not an us thing necessarily.
Maybe this is enough to have on our plate before we form our presentation for the select board, and then we could perhaps do some of the other groups between select board and town meeting.
Potentially. Speaking of town meeting, the subject of outreach at town meeting itself, I don't think I've reported back to this committee, but I did hear back from Alan, which was a very polite no. We had asked about giving an informational report at November town meeting. And there was a sort of we're trying to have fewer live reports in town meeting. I could have tried to quibble saying, well, but hold on, these other ballot questions, like, we had informational only reports for Killam and Recal at town meeting. But I'm not, I also didn't necessarily think that was the fight I wanted to pick. So
Could we have a table in the hall before the town meeting when people are coming in and going to and from their precinct meeting?
I will follow up. I will take the AI to follow up with, this is really probably exactly, Laura, Jem, and Alan.
Personally, I think that's ridiculous that he gave you no. It's not, this isn't exactly it's a town-wide established
Yeah.
program.
And I mean, we will
that
certainly be,
200 in other towns
Yeah.
use,
we'll be presenting at the next, because the timeline, which I think you started to ask about, but didn't come up directly before. So the recommendation of the Community Preservation Coalition is to align so first, actually, voting on the CPA has to be done at a regularly scheduled election. It can't be a special election.
right.
The recommendation is to do it at a state election, not a local election. Apparently, CPA adoption rate at state elections is close to 80%, and at local elections is more like 50%.
Right. Great.
Turnout favors CPA adoption.
Correct.
So then, since we missed the November 2024 vote, there is no state election this November. The next state election is November of technically the 26th. There might be a state primary in September of 26, but we would probably go for the November one. So a state primary that coincides with nothing local might have lower turnout than a local election. But yes, so that's so then to be on that ballot, we would need to yes, correct. That's right, it's in the slides.
In the slides. I'm looking forward to
I'll
this
get you a
presentation.
copy of those after this. Yeah, the so in order for town meeting to put something on the November 2026 ballot, town meeting would vote in April of 2026 to do so, or not to do so. Now, if town meeting did not do it, there still could be a petition to put it on the ballot in November. So that's still a thing, but it's less work for all concerned if town meeting just wants to support it. So that's the plan.
Without being devious, is there an indirect way to kind of get it in front of town meeting?
You have to have the town meeting member.
Well, so there's I'm looking at Martha. There's the unofficial town meeting members mailing list, which is run by the other member of Martha's household, her husband Bruce. So that's still a thing. It's very low traffic, but it exists, and there's nothing stopping us from reaching out to that.
But can't you on the town meeting agenda, isn't there like a open forum as long as a town meeting member sponsors someone to come forward to speak?
So there's not exactly. I mean, there is a standing warrant article for reports, but it's entirely the discretion of the moderator which reports are given live versus in writing. We could submit a written report, but we won't have our final written report by then, and I don't know if we'll have a draft that we want to share at that point. Probably not.
So is Alan just trying to keep
the meeting moving along? Yes. Yeah. I mean, we are going to have to listen to people yell at each other for 120 minutes about snow shoveling. So like, that's going to be, anyway. I'm sorry, you'll be there too, of course.
But I think I would be happy to post something on the list, the mailing list that Bruce maintains. It's not necessarily got all the most current town meeting members on it, but it certainly has a group of them. But I think also I like the idea of having a presence out in the hall, similar to what we had under our tent on the fair day. And I also just want to mention that there's a thing happening at the library where we could replicate our street fair tent. And I sent that email to Joe like after supper sometime today. So you probably haven't had a chance to read it, but that's another possibility. Later in October, we could go and do that form of outreach, and I'm available that day if we would like to have a table with a marble voting and the map that Joe has at his house, for example.
Heck yes. So the event, I see your email. This is about Connected Reading, which is an event at the Reading Public Library on Tuesday, the 28th of October from 5 to 7 p.m. There's no fee for a table. We need to register via a link that's an email here.
It used to be called Neighbors and Newcomers Night.
Something like that,
Yeah.
yes.
It used to be, but now it's not so focused on newcomers. It's just informational. Conservation has done it a few times in a row. Lots of other groups come.
All right.
You always have good stuff to touch too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. That will probably be after our next meeting, though maybe not by much. Should Martha just click on the link and register us a table? Should I do it?
Should we vote?
Is there anybody else who'd be interested in coming and being at that table, or is it just me?
Let me double check my calendar. Looks like I could do it.
Yeah.
Yes, for me.
Yes, for me.
Okay, so we have no shortage of available people.
Okay.
In fact, we have enough people that we have to make sure not to talk to each other too much about CPA. If you're there for conservation, we definitely have two of us, of the rest of us.
If there's plenty of people for the CPA table, I would be at the conservation table, so I wouldn't make a quorum with you at your table.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd be happy to click on the link and register us.
All right. I mean, if you're doing the conservation table, I can make the Joe will register us for a table. All right, and then I can send out I think we've established that like Sign Up Genius type schedule coordination stuff is fine to do over email. That's not deliberation. So I can put out a call for volunteers to join that table that way. We don't need to no one needs to know for sure tonight what their schedule will be in 4 weeks.
Okay. And I'll provide the marbles and the containers to vote with the marbles as I did last time.
And I have the flyer holder still and flyers. Speaking of which, I brought these flyers here. These were the leftovers from Street Fair. Is there anyone going to a committee in person who's here in person who would like to have any of these with them? Make a nice handout for sure. All right, hold on, I'm just gonna split this 3 ways. So, all right, so here.
So is Joe gonna also check with Laura Gem whether or not we can have a table at?
I'll ask about, yes, I'm gonna ask about the town meeting thing. So
Great.
I'll continue to call for the town meeting thing. I'll register us for a table and send out a Sign Up Genius. That's that I can do.
Would we want to post these around town, or are we too early in that?
It might be a bit early.
Yeah.
I would think this is more,
Yeah, you're right. We can't
We
really
can't
post
do
this on
voters.
town. Yes, you're right. Thank you. No, it's so, okay.
I mean, this
Then
is,
I really don't need this many.
oh, okay.
Well, if we go
We'll
into committees.
we'll save them.
Okay.
I mean, I'll make
Or I'll
sure.
bring them back if I don't use
Okay, if you don't use them, yes, they can, remaining flyers can rendezvous at the library on October 28th. Or if you're not gonna be there, you can leave them with, drop them on my porch. I live a block from the library. All right, let's see. The risk of moving the agenda along. Crazy, right? Let's see. So I have, so we have our standing agenda item, which we have indulged in some, talking about the compensation process and contents of the report, what we'd actually put in our report about the merits of the CPA. We haven't talked this time about the actual report document. I'm tempted to punt until we have Margaret because she seems to be the like Canva whisperer. So is there anything anyone else wants to say on that right now?
Just a question. Did the charts in the outreach slide deck that have the numbers,
Yes.
include all the exemptions or not, or just some?
They include some. So the numbers I did were first based only on residential property. So that's kind of an implicit exemption for.
Single family, but not-
No, I did all residential for the amount of revenue raised. And then for the impact, I said, was the impact on single family homes, which of course is a subset of residential. It's the overwhelming majority in Reading, but and then so the revenue raised would also include, from apartment buildings and so forth.
So you assumed a commercial exemption.
So I implicitly assumed a commercial exemption, 100% commercial exemption. I assumed the first $100,000 of property value exemption. Those are the only ones that I was able to compute because the other exemptions are based on income eligibility and age. And I had the assessor's data, which means I had the value of every property in Reading. I didn't have the age or income of the people who live in those properties. So I did not know what properties to exclude. The CPC website does have a question on them that they estimate that usually the impact of the low income and moderate income senior exemptions is on the order of 1%. So it's not a big one. I mean, one would imagine that the value of the properties that belong to the people who are in the low income category are not going to be the bulk of the real estate value in the town. Generally, rich people own more stuff. So.
There were a couple of discussions on that. That was unclear.
Yes,
So-
yeah, no, it's the exemptions that I could include, I included, and those were probably the bigger ones. But relatively speaking, none of them are huge. I mean, the commercial, with you all, I did share the numbers with and without commercial. And it's a single digit percentage difference because it's a single digit percentage of the, something of the tax base, so. And there's no, good question though. Sign up. Okay. So we need to figure out our next meeting. And I need to find a volunteer to talk about a CPA project for next time. But first, let's look at calendars. So we have been mostly meeting on Mondays. I don't know if anyone's preferences. I mean, this is the notorious
27th.
survivor bias of asking people who are here what works in their schedule. The 27th is a possibility. I'm just thinking out loud if that's. Do we need to do more than that? Let me look again at the outreach stuff. I don't want to go back another week. I mean, what'll happen, I mean, this happened last, I think we have skipped the months of town meeting. Since the majority of us are town meeting members and there go, a couple Monday nights right there.
Just so you know, October 27th is an Eastern Gateway presentation at the Reading Public Library, starting at 6 p.m. I
I,
don't know if that's a conflict for us.
I wouldn't want to conflict with that. Let's put it that way. I'd like people to have the option of it.
So if that starts at 6, it's possible we could meet afterwards and have our meeting start at like 8 or something like that.
I think everyone, uh, um, I know I think these meetings go late enough as it is.
Yeah.
Martha, I've seen you nod, so I know you think these meetings go late enough.
Yep.
So
What about the 20th of October?
the
Or-
20th would work for me.
I don't see any outreach presentations on the 20th.
Nope, and let me just double check the other dates. Yeah, we don't have anything. That's right, we have a possible rec present, no, it was possible, what was the 28th potentially?
It's connected, Rich.
Oh,
Connected
it's
Reading.
connected Reading, thank you. All right, that's what I have, 28. So. And rec was potentially, no, that's the third Monday. Is that, wait, is that potentially, no, rec is first
Rec is the
Monday?
third Monday.
Rec's third Monday, well, then that's the problem with the 20th. Because that would be the third Monday. So we don't have an outreach for that day, but we might,
I can let you know by tomorrow.
okay. The other alternative is November 3rd. And then, not later than that because town meeting starts the following week.
Well, isn't connected, excuse me, isn't the Eastern Gateway thing starting at, no, that's not, 6 o'clock, right?
Mhm.
I have 6 to 7. for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to ask people to rush around and, skip dinner or whatever.
I think the 3rd is fine.
Yeah, is there a problem with the 3rd?
Third works for me.
Okay, here.
Are you saying the 3rd of November?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can.
Is that, it's first Monday of, or what, is the first Monday the Reading Housing Authority? Can't remember. There's so many conflicts.
We were doing it on, oh, no, never mind. Oh, well, what about Tuesday, the 21st? We used to do it on Tuesdays.
That's my meeting.
Oh,
We'd
okay.
have to, yeah, we did, the only way it worked before, we did do Tuesdays, sort of opposite select board meetings.
Yeah, but then we get to Connected Reading is that Tuesday, the 28th.
Right,
So-
exactly. So can't do 21st, can't do the 28th, can't do the 4th. So that kind of blows away those Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So
shall we go, oh, the 3rd you said might be recreation?
No.
housing,
20th.
housing.
But housing is early.
Uh,
It's at 5.
okay, I mean, that's,
So the 3rd it is.
I'm reluctant to say that without Margaret, but
Over time.
yeah.
Well, could our backup be to do it after Eastern Gateway and just try to have it be a short?
After housing is less bad than after Eastern Gateway.
Okay, fine.
So, because I think, that's, because I think housing is, I was trying to find confirmation of this, but I believe housing typically meets early. So, well, I know what I should do. I should look at, are they on?
Housing meets at 5.
Oh,
Yeah, yes, that's why that's less bad.
okay.
That works for us.
All right, so the 3rd,
7:30.
7:30. I know there's been some question in the past about whether this is, too ridiculously late. I personally have a conflict earlier on Mondays that makes 7:30 better than 7. I could do it in a pinch, but
I think 7:30 is fine.
CPA, all right. means I'm gonna have a 2-meeting week because finance is supposed to meet that week too. But actually, come to think of it, I don't know what I'm talking about because we'll have already voted on the town meeting. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe we won't have that one. Anywho, all right, and I don't think, yes, I mean, looking further ahead. So this will be on our agenda for next time, but we have talked about trying to have a more public forum. And we've talked about, at some point, I think we may have even talked about early December for that. This gets hard because like everyone's schedules go completely bananas with like holiday parties and stuff in December. And the select board meets like 3 times in a week to look at budget stuff in December. On the other hand, anything this side of Thanksgiving is liable to be, well, yeah, is liable to be town meeting. I mean, if town meeting were done in 2 nights, then the week of the 17th would actually be an option. Otherwise, you run into Thanksgiving week and then December. So I guess it's not something we need to plan now, but I wanted to raise the topic that this is you know, some kind of public forum is something we've talked about. It's something that past committees did. And it does seem like a nice
Is
gesture.
there a sequel to our town meeting presentation? Is that what the
Well, original thought was to make a sequel to our town meeting presentation, the one that Alan said no thank you to. So that's actually part of why we were thinking December before. Because it was trying to aim for after town meeting, but before presenting to the select board in January or February.
So maybe it could be early January if we present to select board later in January or in February.
Potentially.
Possible.
At some point, run into when the select board would be closing the warrant for the town
Yeah.
meeting. That's what we want to stay clear of. And also, I just want to have some flexibility because I know the select board agenda is awfully very crowded. And so we may have to be somewhat flexible to get on their agenda about, we may not be able to dictate a particular meeting.
And what was the purpose of having this public forum again?
To get input from the public.
Okay. So maybe they could just be invited to come and give input at a regular meeting like our November 3rd meeting.
I like that idea. I
Well,
don't think
or- yeah,
that's
I mean, it
really
would
part
be-
of our task.
You don't think so? All right.
The general public, I think reaching out to the boards and commissions that would benefit. I don't know.
So this is a good question. I mean, this is something that I remember that struck me when we researched the previous CPA attempt. One of the most memorable things for me was their they held a public forum. It was attended by 3 members of the public, namely the entire membership of the No Way CPA committee. That was it. So it was just a joint meeting between the CPA people and the anti-CPA people. So I don't think a whole lot of people, every perspective in that room was valid, but I don't think anybody learned anything new that night. And certainly nobody changed their mind about anything that night. So I'm torn.
Was if we're giving an informational presentation at town meeting, we want to be able to say, here's a time and a place for your feedback.
Yes.
Okay, here's some information, think about it, ask some questions, or give us some, some thoughts on the subject. And so I think that plan hung together, but in as much as the town meeting thing has been next, we can schedule or format the input session in any way or the end of it.
Well, I like Martha's suggestion about making it an agenda item in a regular meeting. Public input.
The difference,
We have it.
right, I mean, we do have an opportunity for public comment. It's interesting, we had one person join the Zoom very briefly and then drop off. I didn't get a chance to acknowledge them because I think somebody was, in the middle of talking. And so I let them finish, and by the time they finished, the person had left.
How about if we have information outside town meeting at a table, if that goes off, we have a date for one of our meetings at that point, saying, I would love to hear from you. If you
Yeah.
have any
Yeah.
questions or comments.
I like that.
I mean, the other thing that's different about this is that we would try to do some publicity. We would try to have outreach, like if we actually wanted people to talk to us, we would have to advertise the existence of our meeting. More than just it's posted on the town website in compliance with open meeting law.
This doesn't
Yes.
seem like part of our purview for this committee to be doing publicity.
Particularly if we pitch it.
Well, it's, I mean, because it's about, well,
Really?
I see our job as listening more than talking, so like, obviously we have to talk some in order to like start the conversation and say, hey, here is CPA. But our job is to report back to select board and town meeting on the merits of the CPA, and so what I liked about the idea was the idea that people would, give us input. I mean, if it's just a matter of lobbying people, like, shoot, that's, that can be next year's problem
Yeah.
for the,
It's on our agenda every meeting.
yes, well, yes, but I mean, nobody's at our meetings. I'm gesturing at all the empty chairs in here. So we do have to, if we actually want public input, we do have to actually go out of our way to let the public know that we want public input, I think. So, but you're right, it doesn't need to be a big deal.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it needs to be a forum. I don't think we do a forum. I think we could do public, maybe say, hey, after, at the town meeting thing, on the, whatever paper we put out there.
Yeah.
Come to our meetings if you have questions. We'd love to hear them.
It doesn't need to be styled as a forum. It can be styled as, we're making an extra push for, this is our last meeting of the year. We're making extra push for public input before we put our report together for the select board
Mhm.
in January.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Cool. All right. Anything else about future agendas we need to talk about? Who wants to pick a CPA project for next time?
I will.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah, I mean, this is an opportunity to, pick your favorite CPA. CPA covers so much stuff, so.
I thought it was
Cool.
really interesting to say that they've funded 24 archaeological projects.
Archaeological.
Yeah. And
I-
like, for instance, where for some of the examples where they were doing building sites or something, and then they came across perhaps Indian, Native American, something or another, and so they got CPA funding to further investigate it, and I don't know, just thought that was an interesting category. That's a lot.
Okay. All right, let's go to minutes is the last thing we've got here. Whoops, that's what I want to do. Right. So hold on. Minutes. No comment from public. Right. Sarah and I got stuck with our respective jobs again. But I'm glad that we actually checked that box. I did not know that until I looked into it, that committees are obliged to reorganize, including ad hoc ones. Outreach. Street fair, what's wrong with that? Yes, and there it says in the minutes that following town meeting in November, town meeting members will be invited to a study committee meeting to provide their feedback. That is exactly how we've been thinking about it before.
We did?
Yep.
What paragraph is that under?
Discuss future meetings and agendas, right at the end.
Oh,
So, all right, does anyone have any comments, corrections, questions, concerns?
I thought they were great. As always.
I will say the minutes are correct, but in fact, conservation did not get themselves onto the warrant for the November town meeting. So,
Oh,
somewhere
interesting.
at the top, it said we're gonna ask at town meeting for money, and it's not happening.
Interesting. All right, oh, but yeah, that's not,
Nothing evil, just it's not what turned out to happen. So, oh well.
where did that come up in the minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, it was like liaison reports, no?
Because when we were talking about ARPA,
Oh, yes, that's right. No, it's liaison reports. I reported that I had
Yeah,
talked
last
to
paragraph.
Brian,
Right.
and at the time, that was his intent.
Yeah, that's the section it was under.
All right. Yeah.
So it's not false. You can leave it in the minutes. I'm just giving you a update on it.
Thank you. All right, so I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our meeting on August 18th as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Martha. Do we have a second? Thank you, Sandy. We'll do a roll call vote, starting on Zoom. Martha,
Yes?
Carlo,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Kate, you're welcome to abstain.
Well, I can vote too.
Yeah, yes, you can vote too.
I'll vote yes.
All right, Sarah?
yes,
And Joe, yes. All right. That is it for our agenda. Who would like to move to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Sandy, for the second. Starting on Zoom, Martha,
Yes?
hello,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Sarah,
yes.
and Joe, yes. Thank you very much.
Good night.
Yep.
We come back?
We have great discussions, sometimes to a fault.
No.